3-1. He knows Swiss is towards low, and the nade lands on his head. Oscar does it again. Completely sabotages the dreams of Liquid. It seemed like JDM had done enough from the vents, but oh no, it's Rops and Oscar to shut things down. 15-4, and it's going to take 11 match points for Liquid to get back into this. They have no chance but the force buy right now.
Oh God, it's gutting. JDM, you do so much. You're on the ropes. You've managed to find 3 with a weapon you're not even supposed to be finding frags with. And yet, you can't convert it. Oscar, the clutch god, 27 frags in just 20 rounds of play. 19 rounds of play, to correct myself. And MouzSports, this is their tournament now. The North Americans have to do something absurd to even consider the possibility of them taking their trophy, to break that curse. 12 years, Paul said, a North American team winning a trophy, taking a trophy home on European soil. It looks like MouzSports is going to be taking that away from them. The perfect kind of embodiment of that as well. A European roster, an international roster from all across the globe: Estonia, Finland, Slovakia, the Netherlands, and the Czech Republic.
It all comes down to this round, Alex. 15-4. It's a mishmash by a best Team Liquid of M4s, Famises, UMPs, and Nitro. A plucky MP9. Elise drops first. The talisman so far for Team Liquid. 5-on-4. MouzSports one step closer now as they go towards the ramp room. We have got one player waiting for them, Stan. He has been so good so far. He gets one. Can't get anything else done. The refrag is great from MouzSports here. And Sunny listening towards the lobby as well. This is looking good.
Stan and Elise now have to watch as their tournament hopes hang in the balance. Oscar extends it. Twist now joins them as it's down to Nitro alone. Just Nitro. Oscar's got 2. Sticko's going to finish it. And MouzSports, they've done it. The trophy is theirs. It has been such a underdog story. Just a month together. MouzSports have done it. SK, Gambit, Virtus.pro, Big, Heroic, North, not North, excuse me. But the list is endless.
Yes, you're
of teams
right.
that could have lifted this trophy.
This is an unlikely grand final, and I think an unlikely victor as well. Everyone anticipated Liquid to take the victory. You can see what it means to these boys. Rob, 17 years old, Sunny coming from Tier 2. Sticko, the new boy of the lineup. Oscar coming back in after being removed. So many storylines here, and they've done it. They've won a best of 5. It went right down to the wire there, but what a performance it was on Nuke. Impeccable stuff. Everyone showed up there, and you have to say that's going to be disappointing. A bitter pill to swallow for Liquid. Their stars didn't align, and they find themselves a 16-4 scoreline.
This grand final as well, we started by saying, where is Sunny? Where is Oscar? We had these questions, we needed answers, and they all come and correlate here on Nuke. 30 frags for Oscar, 19 for Sunny. It's a brief affair on Nuke. Liquid just struggled to get going. And it's an unlikely squad, really. When you look at it on paper, this team started, so long ago, as they are here in Greece. It's a big win. Smiles creeping onto their faces because they have done it, and they know it. And here are your squad. Don't forget the coach as well. From left to right, Sticko, Sunny, Chris J, Oscar, LMBT, and Rops. These 6 players have done it. They are your champions. MouzSports are your ESG Tour Mykonos champions.
There we go then. The first ever ESG Tour champions here in Mykonos are MouzSports. They received the trophy and the accolades of the crowd around us as well. They'll all celebrate long and hard, I'm sure. We're going to get the medal ceremony going as well. Stamos from PV Pro, the CEO, presenting the medals to the MouzSports team. And of course getting a bottle of champagne alongside too. Big congratulations to them. We're back at the panel. We'll just talk over this. We'll stay with the members out there right now getting their medals, and Lerpis and Thorin will give their thoughts on this particular grand final. Duncan, we'll start with you. Well, that's a good way to end. We like that.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I have to say, first of all, obviously, congratulations, MouzSports. Great performance. Fantastic closing game from Oscar there. I thought it would be a great final game, but sadly, Team Liquid had to pull in Immortals and not show up to a map of the final.
You had to get one in, didn't you?
It's the new thing now.
You had to get one in.
Everyone's going to be doing it at school.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. Are we going to get the champagne? Can anyone spray that? They can. Look at that. Oh, my goodness.
And by the way, since we haven't referenced it this week, actually, because it's such a new lineup, I do want to say the first person to receive a medal there was LMBT, who's the coach of Mouse Sports. And ever since he joined Mouse Sports, actually, he was referenced as someone who helped to bring about some of those tactics when people like Chris J had to become the in-game leader, you know, someone without experience doing that role. He's obviously a veteran himself from the Ukrainian scene.
Sorry, Stamos has just gone in the water as well, I think. Everyone's jumping in now. Sorry, mate.
It's all right.
They're just having fun out there. There's far too much fun. Do you want to go and jump in?
Definitely not.
I don't think so, man. That was freezing water already in daytime.
No, the problem with this is obviously, like, it ended up being kind of a victory lap at the end for the Mouse Sports guys, but even though they were dominating the first half, you knew if Liquid could just win the pistol, if they could just get going that way, and even though they were the ones favoured on this map, it never happened for them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, basically what happened is we said, you win the pistol on CT side, you rack up a lot of rounds, and sometimes it's one round that makes the difference. Well, this time Mouse Sports won the second half pistol. Liquid curiously did not go for the second round force buy. And once they failed on the third round, is basically game. It's incredible performance by Oscar. It was 30 kills in about 20 rounds of play. And he wasn't even sniping in that game. It was all rifles.
Exactly, yes.
Just incredible.
So there's no argument between you two now for MVP of the tournament?
Not because Mouse won, obviously. There would have been otherwise, but everything's okay.
So are we settled on our MVP after that
I think it's got to
performance?
be Oscar, yeah.
Has to be
I
Oscar,
think it's
doesn't it?
obvious.
I will acknowledge for some of the final, he wasn't the best player on Mouse, but he closed out the decider. As you say, he did it with rifles. A lot of people don't know, before he started opening in Hellraisers, he was a hybrid. He was actually mainly using... Obviously, he was a guy you'd often see with a rifle, and he's someone in 1.6, in fact, was mainly known as a rifler. I think you also have to look at him and say, for the rest of the tournament, what a beast he was. I mean, he's really part of the reason they're here. I mean, remember, this is a team that could have been 2-0 by Gambit. That absolutely could have happened. That was a pretty good series overall. I think you also have to mention in that game there, just because he had a big play, Sonny had amazing poise in this team. You know, when you consider it's a brand new team, he's never played with them. In theory, it takes a while to build chemistry with people, kind of know unconsciously what they're going to do. His sense stuff for when to push up, obviously it was a great flank he had there on Nuke when he got behind everyone at the pillbox outside. I think in general, you kind of see the formula for where this team could go. Chris J doesn't have to do a lot of fragging. He's got all these guys on his team. Rops doesn't have to be the main star. He's got time to develop. Oscar is a star already. Sonny is actually, I think, more comfortable being the secondary star there. Doesn't have all the weight on his shoulders. Sticko was joining the team to be a support player anyway. Actually had a couple of big games in this series.
Sticko had a very good train. That's when I finally saw him stepping up during this tournament. I thought he was a little underwhelming earlier on, but in train he had a couple of really big rounds for his team.
I mean, I'm a big Sonny fanboy, I have to say. Okay. I liked a lot of what he did in Penta when they were coming through the minors and the qualifiers, and I felt like he was a bit underestimated actually by a lot of the serious Counter-Strike people. Probably ignored him a little bit, but credit to Natu as well, because he pointed him out early to me. He said this kid's going to be really good, and he's not wrong. I think even in this game, in this series, he seems to have been a bit underestimated, because we have had Oscar and he has had an MVP standout.
Oh, he smiled. What's going on? Is he drunk or something? What is
he
going on?
He doesn't do that very often.
Well, he only did it for like 5 seconds. Yeah, and he was like, well, I better get that back on the
Normality restored, Sonny. Don't get carried away out there. You don't need to steal it, mate. It's yours. You get to keep that one. Yeah, I mean, I just think he's been a fantastic player that they've had as an addition to this team, and has just shown that he can step up to this kind of level as well. But it's an exciting future, Tommy, for this 5. If they started like this after a month together, what can they do over the next 5 months?
No, I mean, it certainly opens a lot of doors for them in terms of tournament invitations as well, which is a big part of it. I mean, it's hard to qualify for tournaments online, and with some of the top teams in the game, it's hard to get invitations as well, especially for tournaments that only have 8 teams. So this is something that's probably going to open a lot of doors for them. It's going to give them more chances to get good performances out of them. And obviously, they have Ely coming up next as the next showing.
Yeah, and I have to say a couple of factors. One, imagine like 2 months ago telling a team like this, oh, you can win a tournament that has SK Gaming in it. Like, that was inconceivable at the time. You'd had to be a FaZe or a Struct to even have a hope at it. Then you've got to think for someone like Oscar. I mean, we know from 1.6, this was a guy stuck in obscurity. We didn't have multinational teams back then. You had no support if you were from those regions. So he was actually a beast in 1.6. It's just he only could do it in his region, so no one really knew how good he is. You had to watch frag movies to see it. So the idea that you can actually win an international tournament, again with the caliber of the major champions, people like SK Gaming there, it's almost unthinkable for any other era of Counter-Strike.
100,000 euros for the champions of ESG Tour. Not a bad day's work, actually. They've had to work hard for it, though. 5 maps. I think we have to give a little bit of credit to Liquid as well, Tommy. They put up a good fight through this tournament, showing they've got some strategies, they've got some good players, they've got some standout things that can happen for them over the next few months, but fallen 1 map short in the grand final. And again, we talk about when will the Americans come to Europe and claim a trophy? Complexity in 2005 was the last time it happened, and they carry on holding that record.
No, I mean, it was a good showing. Like you said, it's a bit underwhelming the way it happened to finish, because they did get rocked in the first half and then lose the pistol. Never really got back into it. But it's not like they got blown out of the grand final. I mean, they won 2 maps. They got to the final map. They were actually the ones who took care of SK in the semifinals. They're the ones who got the biggest single map win, or match win. Exactly. So they have that to take home with them. And obviously, they have just changed their in-game leader, or rather the hybrid combination system with Nitro and Stanislav. So obviously, it's a huge step in the right direction, and they also got quite a few tournaments still coming up in the rest of the year, so that's definitely something to build on, and it's a much better result than we've seen from Liquid ever since last summer.
I know we've counted Oscar as the MVP for the tournament, but a quick word for this man on your screen, Chris J, because it hasn't been that long as an in-game leader. He started doing it during the minors and the qualifiers and what have you in the summer. It's been probably 3 or 4 months. He's had a lot of help from his coaches, he admitted in the interviews this week, but he's got to take a lot of heart from this tournament in the way that he's pulled these guys together and he's got them to do what he wants them to do.
Well, I mean, if you heard in the interview, he was not a very bold guy. He wasn't saying, oh, we're definitely going to win this, and, you know, I know exactly how we're going to beat them, and this guy's so good, how can we lose? Because he's been in such difficult situations. Like, I mean, I used to say Nico was the best player in the world last year, so he had the best player in the world, and he could never even make a final. You know, he's never win with a chance to win titles, and in fact, that actually was a bit kind of crushing for someone like him, because it always felt like, well, you're only winning because of Nico. So they never felt like they were part of it. That's why, even though I don't blame Nico for it, he was just too good in contrast to them. Whereas this is a very different team. This is a more of a balanced squad. And he has had to reinvent himself, taking over the leadership role, kind of learning the reins. That's why I highlighted the coach, LMBT, there, because he hasn't just done it on his own. He hasn't just had to say, oh, what did God B used to do ages ago? And he's had a guy there who's worked with different teams. By the way, actually,